The House will come to order. Prayer by the chaplain.
Let's pray. Lord, we come to you today with gratitude. I thank you for the opportunity that we have to be here. I thank you, Lord, for the blessings in our lives. And I know for me, sometimes it can be easy to get caught up in the struggles of life, and especially when I see some of the hurt that goes on in the world around us. And Lord, I do know that those things need to be addressed, but in the midst of all of that, I pray that you would help us to be reminded of your goodness and your love. So God, I do pray for our leadership, whether it's in the home or in the classroom or in our cities and our states in this country and across the globe. I pray that you would help us to love well, that you would help us to care for others and to love our neighbors in the same way that you care and love for us with grace and truth. I pray for this meeting that it would be productive, that it would be effective, and we seek your wisdom and your guidance. I also pray for unity. There are issues that sometimes we disagree with. So I do pray for understanding, but more than anything, that you would remind us that we are here together, to be reminded of what brings us together, and that's our love for others, that we want what is best for our people. Help us to be united in that. So we give this meeting up to you. I pray that you would take it, that you would use it, and again, just thank you for your goodness, for your blessings, and for your love. And it's in your holy name we pray. Amen.
The chaplain for today is Pastor Peter Shea from Oasis Church in Rochester, Minnesota. Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing and recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. The clerk will take the roll. The clerk will close the roll. A quorum is present. Members, as a reminder, please take your conversations to the alcoves or the retiring room. The clerk will read the journal of the preceding day.
Journal of the House, 94th Session, 2025, 19th Legislative Day, St. Paul, Minnesota, Monday, April 7th, 2025.
If there is no objection, further reading of the journal will be dispensed with, and the journal will be approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Hearing no objection, the journal is approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Reports of standing committees and divisions. A copy of this order of business is on your desk or online. If there is no objection, the reports will be adopted. Hearing no objection, the reports are adopted. Second reading of House files.
Second reading, House File number 1290.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File number 1367.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File number 1396.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File number 1837.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File number 1999.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File number 2023.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File number 2115.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File number 2171.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File number 2309.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File number 2464.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File number 2863.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File number 3006.
Second reading.
And second reading, House File number 3022.
Second reading. Introduction of bills. The following House files have been offered for introduction today. The chief clerk will report the House files and give them their first reading.
Introduction of first reading of House Files 3167 through 3187.
First reading, House Files 3167 through 3187. Report from the Committee of Rules and Legislative Administration.
Report from the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration. Niska from the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration, pursuant to Rules 1.21 and 3.33, designates the following bills to be placed on the calendar for the day for Thursday, April 10th, 2025, and establishes a pre-filing requirement for amendments offered to the following bills. House File numbers 601, 854, 1027, 1722, 2233, and 2554. Long from the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration, pursuant to Rules 1.21 and 3.33, designates the following bill to be placed on the calendar for the day for Monday, April 21st, 2025, and establishes a pre-filing requirement for amendments offered to the following bill. House File number 1090.
Calendar for the day. The first bill for the calendar today is House File 854. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 854, number 2 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to transportation, designating a segment of marked trunk Highway 23 in Kandiyohi County as Sergeant Joshua A. Schmit Memorial Highway.
I recognize the member from Kandiyohi, the author of the bill, Representative Baker, to explain the bill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. Today, it's an honor for me to bring this bill to the floor in honor of Sergeant Joshua Schmit. Joshua Schmit was a great service member. He was a great soldier. In honor of his life and the sacrifice that he gave, we are asking for a memorial sign in his honor in our community. I knew Josh from a young age. He used to work at a little place called Walt's Car Wash gas station in Wilmer. He was a short little guy, stout, always had a beautiful smile. His nickname was Oompa because he was a small, happy-go-lucky guy. His father was in the military, and from that day on, he wanted to follow in his father's footsteps, and he did just that. Right out of high school, Josh enlisted in the National Guard, completed his basic training at Fort Benning, where he made the courageous decision then to go on boots on the ground and go as an infantryman, and his dad had shown him and had the honor of placing that blue cord on his uniform for that honor. In Iraq, he was deployed to Operation Iraqi Freedom. Sergeant Schmit served as the lead Humvee commander, tasked with protecting convoys across dangerous terrain. He had survived 3 roadside bombings, saw the horrors firsthand of war, and was just days away from coming home from his deployment. On Easter Sunday of 2007, he called his family, wished his mom and dad a happy Easter, full of hope, thanking them for all of their prayers. He said he had one more mission to take care of. He's on his way home soon. He was going to be home in 10 days. In fact, he was volunteering to take the extra mission because other folks were not doing that. And his mother said, it wasn't your mission. Why don't you just call in sick? And Josh said, Mom, this isn't hockey practice. This is something we got to do. This is war. Just days later then, the Humvee struck a massive IED near Fallujah. Sergeant Schmit was killed with one other soldier in that blast. Naming this highway in honor of Josh would be an honor to all of us in the community. The community has raised money. We packed the Civic Center auditorium back in 2007 when this happened. It'll be 18 years on April 14th, which is coming up in a couple of days, when they lost this beautiful man from our community. So I know Josh's mom, Kim, is watching today, and I want to just say how honored I am to carry this in honor of your son, your beautiful, beautiful boy, Sergeant Joshua A. Schmit. Members, I hope that we can support carrying this to the finish line today in his honor. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
There are no amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill a third reading.
Third reading, House File Number 854.
Third reading. Additional discussion to the bill. I recognize Representative Sexton.
Good afternoon, members. As a fellow veteran, this is a very important bill. Let's green the board and support the family of this hero who didn't come home the way we all like to come home, but came home in a different way. He supported our nation in one of the toughest operations we have conducted since World War II. I appreciate your support for this bill.
Further discussion? Representative Baker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. Please vote green.
The clerk will take the roll. The clerk will close the roll. There being 134 ayes and 0 nays, the bill is passed and its title is agreed to. The next bill on the calendar for today is House File 1722. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 1722, number 4 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to highways, designating a segment of U.S. Highway 63 as Officer Jason B. Meyer Memorial Highway.
I recognize the member from Fillmore, Representative Davids, the author of the bill, to explain the bill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. House File 1722. This bill dedicates a segment of highway on Highway 63 at the intersection with Highway 16, going in a southerly direction to the city of Racine. This will be named the Officer Jason B. Meyer Memorial Highway. Members, this is long overdue. Officer Meyer was killed in a single-car crash in 1999 while responding to a call for assistance from a deputy in a neighboring agency. He died in the line of duty. He is a hero, and he certainly deserves to have this section of highway named after him. I would like to thank Chair Kosnick, Chair of the Transportation Committee, for having a very meaningful and professional hearing. They passed out of committee unanimously. This memorial is long overdue for a hero who died while trying to help others. I'd like to yield to my good friend from Rochester, Representative Hicks.
I recognize the member from Olmsted, Representative Hicks.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Representative. This is long overdue for Jason and his family who are here with us today. I'd like to recognize his widow and my dear friend, Sarah. I'd like to recognize his mother, Joyce, his cousin, Kelly, his mother-in-law, Jeannie, retired Mower County Sergeant John Bachman, retired Mower County Sergeant Deputy Mark Anderson, and Sarah's children, Samantha and Alex. Thank you all so much for being here with us today so we can honor Jason.
There are no amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House File number 1722.
Third reading. Further discussion to the bill? I recognize the author of the bill, Representative Davids.
Thank you, members, and thank you, Representative Hicks. I hope to see that board light up as green as it can be. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The clerk will take the roll. The clerk will close the roll. There being 134 ayes and 0 nays, the bill is passed and its title is agreed to. The next bill on the calendar for today is House File 2554. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 2554, number 6 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to transportation, designated the Elmstrand, Finseth, Ruge Heroes Memorial Bridge in the city of Burnsville.
Recognize the member from Dakota, the author of the bill, Representative Witte, who will explain the bill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. I wish legislation like this wasn't necessary, but on February 18, 2024, tragedy struck the Burnsville community, and we lost 3 brave first responders, Officer Paul Elmstrand, Officer Matthew Ruge, and firefighter-paramedic Adam Finseth. These 3 heroes made the ultimate sacrifice while serving and protecting the people of Burnsville. Today, we have the opportunity to ensure their legacy is never forgotten. House File 2554 designates the Burnsville Parkway Bridge over I-35W as the Elmstrand, Finseth, Ruge Heroes Memorial Bridge. This is more than a name. It's a lasting tribute to 3 individuals who embodied courage, duty, and selflessness. Each time someone crosses that bridge, they will be reminded of the ultimate sacrifice these heroes made for their community. I am truly honored to announce that this bill has received incredible bipartisan backing. I thank all 3 representatives from Burnsville, Representative Berg, Representative Hansen, and Representative Ryer, who signed on to this bill. And I've been able to secure private funding for this designation. What truly moves me is the unwavering support I received from Burnsville Police Chief and Fire Chief and Meyer. Above all, what matters most, though, is the heartfelt blessing and support I received from the families of Officer Elmstrand, Officer Ruge, and firefighter-paramedic Finseth. Their strength and sacrifice are the driving force behind this effort, and I'm deeply humbled to stand alongside them in this important work. Thank you.
There are no amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its 3rd reading.
3rd reading, House File number 2554.
3rd reading. Further discussion to the bill. I recognize the member from Dakota, Representative Berg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to thank Representative Witte for carrying this bill. We've had a wonderful opportunity to be in this together and to become friends. And I just want to thank you for carrying this bill with such honor and such love for our community. And you're right, now when anybody comes into our community and goes back out of our community, they will understand the sacrifice, but also the strength we have in Burnsville, which is pretty special. And I want to thank everyone in this body for the love and support you've continued to show for our community, and I hope you vote green. Thank you.
Representative Witte.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, members, and Representative Berg. I ask for your support in passing this bill. Let's honor these fallen heroes in a way that ensures their bravery and service are remembered for generations to come. Thank you.
The clerk will take the roll. The clerk will close the roll. There being 134 ayes and 0 nays, the bill is passed and its title is agreed to. The next bill on the calendar for today is House File 1027. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 1027, number 3 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to real property, the first engrossment.
I recognize the member from Anoka, the author of the bill, Representative West, to explain the bill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm very excited today. I have not had a bill on the House floor since 2017. And that bill is a little less exciting. It changed the hours of the DMV. And you know what? Every single Democrat voted against it. So I blame Leader Hortman for that one. Anyways, House File 1027 is a bill that was supposed to go through the process last year. Chair Gomez was generous enough to offer a hearing on the bill. We get up to the day of the hearing and then realize, wait, it got sent to the wrong committee. And then deadlines took it down. So we came back this year, and this bill has had a lot of work between all the interested parties, more work than you'd think. and it's been a delight to learn about property law. But it has support from foreclosure attorneys, sheriff departments, and legal aid. And I always view a good bill. A good bill is either a bill that makes everybody a little mad or a bill that makes everyone happy. And I'm glad that this is the latter. This bill provides clarity for sheriff departments when they're dealing with foreclosure surpluses. So when you're going through a foreclosure and other entities are bidding on the property, there can be a surplus as a result of those offers. And what we've seen in Minnesota is sometimes bad actors will try and swoop in and take advantage of somebody who doesn't know their rights in this process. And we also see sheriff departments, they are the ones who take the possession of any sort of surplus in these sales, but there's no clear process on what to do with the money. So we've had multiple lawsuits here in Minnesota where sheriff deputies send the money to the wrong person, and then they lose a lawsuit, lose the money, and have to pay a settlement. And all because there's not a clear process on how to do this. But while we were clearing up this process for sheriff departments, we didn't want to just leave the people being foreclosed upon behind. We want to make sure everybody has a bite at it who is entitled to it. So this bill also requires sheriff departments, when they're dealing with these foreclosure sales, to inform the property owner whether there is a surplus and what their rights are to that surplus. Because the goal here is to make sure that this money goes to the people who it should. That might be a lien holder, that might be individual or otherwise, but if you give it to the wrong person, that results in a lawsuit. So it provides consumer protection for individuals, clarity for the sheriff departments and the attorneys who have to deal with these situations. It was an honor to work with Representative Feist, my co-author on this bill. It's a great bipartisan bill. And Lord willing, we're going to result in a lot more people maybe even getting a chance to recover their property if the surplus is substantial and they can put it towards the property. But the clarity will make sure everyone in this situation gets what they are entitled to. And I would be honored to have the support of every member here today.
There are no amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House Law Number 1027.
Third reading. I recognize the member from Ramsey, Representative Feist.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to support this bill. Last year, we passed the bill that addressed the issue that the government, when they were foreclosing upon property, that they were keeping the surpluses, and that was unconstitutional. And this year, we are addressing the issue in the private sector, making sure that people whose homes are foreclosed upon, but those homes have increased in value and they are entitled to a surplus, we're making sure that they get them. So this is just closing another loop that I think is really important. So I hope people will vote in support. Thank you.
Further discussion to the bill? I recognize the member from Anoka, Representative Scott.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the bill's author and all of those that worked on this bill. It's pretty common sense, and I appreciate all the stakeholder work on the bill so that this portion of statute can become crystal clear on what to do with these funds. I encourage a green vote.
Further discussion? I recognize the author of the bill, Representative West.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This bill is also moving in the Senate. Lord willing, they'll be able to take action on it, but at least it will be in their omnibus bill. So thank you for all being a part of this wonderful moment to where I get to pass a bill on the floor. I have craved this moment for a long time. Thank you, members.
The clerk will take the roll. The clerk will close the roll. There being 134 ayes and 0 nays, the bill is passed and its title is agreed to. The next bill on the calendar for today is House File 601. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 601, number 1 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to agriculture.
There are amendments at the desk. If there is no objection, we will let the author explain the bill before we act on the amendments. I recognize the member from Roseau, the author of the bill, Representative Burkel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. House File 601 aims to provide compensation for farmers for crop or fence damage from elk or livestock killed or crippled by wolves. Currently, this would be an appropriation for 2025, as currently that fund has been depleted early because of the number of claims. Under the Wolf Depredation Program, the Minnesota Department of Agriculture compensates livestock owners for animals that are killed or injured by wolves. That compensation is based on the fair market value determined by the Department of Agriculture in consultation with either a university extension agent, a DNR conservation officer, or in my case, in District 1A, Kitson County Sheriff is allowed to do that assessment as well due to the high incidence of wolf-related damage. In a similar way, the Elk Depredation Program allows Department of Ag to compensate landowners for crop or fence damage caused by elk. An authorized agent would do that assessment and investigate and estimate the value of that crop damage. So that is the bill, Madam Speaker.
Representative Burkel offers the following amendment. The clerk will report the amendment.
Burkel moves to amend House File number 601. The amendment is coded A3.
I recognize the author of the amendment, Representative Burkel, who will explain the amendment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is simply a clarifying amendment that the department wanted, just clarifying that on page 1, line 7, livestock destroyed or crippled by a wolf, clarifying that it is a wolf. And on page 1, line 15, the same language is caused by an elk. Just clarifying that the damage has been caused by either one of those. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I recognize the member from Dakota, Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and we would support the A3 amendment.
Any further discussion to the amendment? Representative Burkel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I urge a yes vote.
All those in favor of the amendment say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion prevails. There are no further amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill as amended its third reading.
Third reading, House File number 601, as amended.
Third reading. Further discussion to the bill? Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Would Representative Burkel yield to a question?
Representative Burkel will yield to a question. Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And Representative Burkel, when we were discussing these provisions in the Ag Committee, I have a question on line 1.12 that the claims and looking at the reimbursements, they are performed by Federal Wildlife Services staff. And at that time, there were questions about whether those federal staff were still employed. Do you know if those staff are employed or if they've been rehired or replaced, the APHIS staff looking at the wolf losses?
Representative Burkel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Representative Hansen, for that question. Yes, at this time, APHIS has rehired those staff.
Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And then if Representative Burkel would still yield for a question?
Representative Burkel will continue to yield. Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And Representative Burkel on line 1.17 and 1.18, the elk depredation, validating those was a little bit different. I think those were hired consultants and it had gone from 5 down to 1. Are there staff who can do validating the claims to make sure that they're real?
Representative Burkel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Representative Hansen. Yes, that has been an issue that has kind of happened in the last couple of years. They've slowly, over time, have lost folks that have been able to do those assessments, but that is being picked up by adjusters, insurance adjusters, and others that that verify those claims to ensure that they're accurately assessed as elk damage.
Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I know there's differences of opinion on our side of the aisle on support for this, but my understanding this was part of the overall budget negotiations. I am going to be voting green.
Further discussion to the bill? Representative Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. I think I support this. I do support this, not I think I support this. I do support this, and it's it's something that if you draw a line kind of from Pine County up to Kittson County, when it's wolf depredation, Kittson County and Pine County have a little bit of a competition. It's not necessarily a good one. It's the amount of loss to that livestock have, and that's a challenge. The gray wolf is protected under the endangered species list, so this is it's kind of a federal issue, and quite often there's federal funding that comes through for the livestock depredation, but that's dried up, and the last time we received anything was 2023. And so it's been several years that Minnesota itself has been funding the livestock depredation, and so it's been a cost out of our pockets. And I would just encourage a green vote on this, and thank you, Representative Burkel, for bringing this today.
I recognize the member, Representative Schultz.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I speak in support of House File 601 today. Similar to Representative Nelson, this has been something that has been a growing issue in my own community. My county saw the top level of wolf depredation claims in the year 2023, and it's something that we need to continue to address as the population continues to change with the wolf population moving to different parts of the state. And so I'm glad that we're able to address this today for our farmers, our ranchers across much of Minnesota. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Burkel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Like I said, the depredation account at this point has been depleted, and there are claims on the Department of Ag's desk for roughly $93,000 worth of elk claims and $23,000 worth of wolf claims, with the current 2025 year yet to come. So I'd encourage a green vote for livestock and grain producers in the state. Thank you.
The clerk will take the roll.
We'll shut it off on that.
The clerk will close the roll. There being 115 ayes and 19 nays, the bill as amended is passed and its title is agreed to. Motions and resolutions. There are copies of the non-controversial motions at the House desk and online. If there is no objection, we will take action on these motions first. Hearing no objection, the motions prevail.
House Resolution Number 3, being introduced by Tabke and Bakeberg, a House resolution recognizing April 11th, 2025 as Shaken Baby Prevention Day in the state of Minnesota. The resolution is being referred to the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration.
I recognize the member from Scott, Representative Tabke.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker and members. 8 years ago, we had a tragic incident happen in Shakopee where a 6-month-old Nolan McNally was injured severely in a shaken baby incident in our community. It was extraordinarily terrible, and right soon after that, Nolan's doing great now. So soon after that, Nolan's mother and father, Crystal and Brendan McNally, started a foundation called Never Shake Minnesota to educate and bring advocacy toward shaken baby syndrome and making sure that we understand the ramifications and consequences and how that it dramatically impacts kids. And so I did not have a prop here today, but it's working out pretty well. So that's a good thing. But it is tomorrow is for Shaken Baby Awareness, and so I'm honored to have Representative Bakeberg and I bring this resolution forward and make sure that we're bringing information to all of our members and to your communities on Shaken Baby Syndrome. So earlier today, you all received an email about Shaken Baby Syndrome and making sure that you understand that, and the Never Shake MN website to be able to share that with your constituents. So thank you very much, everyone, for the resolution.
I recognize the member from Scott, Representative Bakeberg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Representative Tabke, for your work on this resolution. As Representative Tabke talked about, tomorrow is Shaken Baby Syndrome Day, and it is the work that the McNally family, and Crystal is here today, the rest of her team is back in Jordan right now, setting up for the event that is tomorrow night. And we would invite all of you to come to Ridges at Sand Creek in Jordan and help raise money for this wonderful foundation. But is a fantastic example of a family taking a horrible situation and really turning it into something good to be able to support families and most importantly, kids. And the McNallys are now constituents of mine living in Jordan, and I just want to say thank you for the work that you guys are doing, and thank you to Representative Tabke for the work on this resolution.
Representative Niska.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. 7 weeks ago, we debated House File 20 and discussed the importance of sunlight to our democracy. This week, some of that sunlight reached the Attorney General's office. Recently released audio recordings reveal conversations between Attorney General Ellison and individuals later implicated, and in some cases convicted, in the Feeding Our Fraud scandal, the largest pandemic-era fraud scheme.
Point of parliamentary inquiry, Madam Speaker.
State your point of parliamentary inquiry.
What order of business are we under?
We are on motions and resolutions. Representative Niska.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In these recordings, the Attorney General is being asked to use his authority to protect businesses under investigation for wrongdoing.
Representative Niska, or Representative Long.
What motion or resolution are we on?
Representative Long, we are on motions and resolutions, and I believe Representative Niska is making a motion. Representative Niska.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The release of these audio recordings raised serious questions about what's going on in our Attorney General's office. Transparency is the foundation of accountability, the safeguard of our democracy, and protects public
Point of
trust.
parliamentary inquiry, Madam Speaker.
Representative Long.
Madam Speaker, I believe that we need to be on an order of business before we can debate that business.
Representative Niska, please state your motion that you are making.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We need to pass House File 20 today. I move that we take House File 20 from the table and request a roll call.
Representative Niska has made a motion to take House File 20 from the table and has requested a roll call. That is a non-debatable motion. The clerk will take the roll. The clerk will close the roll. There being 67 ayes and 67 nays, the motion does not prevail. Announcements. I recognize the member from Ramsey, Representative Perez Vega.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to make a special announcement today that April 10th is my daughter Loisa Rosa Perez's 6th birthday, and it's the day that I have been blessed to become a mother in the state of Minnesota. So with all that, I want to just say happy birthday, feliz cumpleaños to my nena Loisa Rosa. Thank you.
I recognize the member from Hennepin, Representative Mamami Hildsley.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Today I rise with great pride in honor of the city of Osseo and its celebration of 150 years of rich history, heritage, and community spirit. From its early days as a small settlement to the vibrant and diverse city it is today, Osseo remains to be a shining example of what makes Minnesota communities strong. Resilient families, thriving small businesses, and a deep commitment to one another. As part of the special celebration, I want to recognize Carol Larson. She is a former mayor of Osseo, I believe, and a dedicated member of who has played a key role on planning committee of the Osseo's 150th anniversary. Thank you, Carol. And then in addition, I want to celebrate the city's Osseo High School. We have a principal, the first woman principal after 100 years for Osseo High School, Principal Sarah Vernon, whose outstanding leadership and commitment continues to shape a safe, inclusive, and empowering environment for every student. And those anniversaries remind us that the community is built generation by generation through care, leadership, and shared pride. Happy 150th to Osseo and a happy 100th anniversary to Osseo High School. Thank you. And lastly, we are privileged today on the House to acknowledge the former minority leader, Bill Schreiber, who served in this body during the 1991-1992 session. Leader Schreiber was known for his sharp intellect, steady leadership, and unwavering commitment to public service. His time in the House was marked by a deep respect for the institution and sincerely dedication to the people of Minnesota. We want to thank him for his service and the legacy of leadership he leaves behind. Thank you so much. Help me celebrate him.
Members, Bill Schreiber served from 1973 to 1976 and 1979 through 1992. Thank you for being here. I recognize the member from Carver, Representative Ream.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So today is day 4 of Severe Weather Awareness Week. You may have heard the tornado sirens at 1:45. They will be sounding off again at 6:45 p.m. tonight. This May will also be the 60th anniversary of the 1965 tornado outbreak that rode through the Twin Cities areas, mostly the West Metro, with 6 tornadoes that went through 6 counties. It killed 13 people, and there were 500 injuries. It was also, at that time, the first use of civil defense sirens for tornado warnings, and it stuck. So this is a good reminder to have a plan. At 6:45 p.m. tonight, when you hear the sirens, think about what county you're in, because that's always really important to know what county you're in when you hear them go off, and think about what you're going to do. Thank you so much.
I recognize the member from Ramsey, Representative Moeller.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of the Ethics Committee will be meeting 15 minutes after adjournment in Capitol Room 123. Thank you.
Representative Backer.
Yeah, members of Health Committee, we will be meeting at 4:35 in our normal committee room, so 10 minutes after session. Thank you, members.
I recognize the member from Hennepin, Representative Katiza Watoon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of the Children and Families Finance and Policy Committee will be meeting immediately after the Health Committee concludes in Capitol 120. Thank you.
Further announcements. Representative Niska.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until noon, Monday, April 21st, 2025.
Representative Niska moves that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until noon, Monday, April 21st, 2025. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion prevails. Representative Niska.
I move that the House do now adjourn.
Representative Niska moves that the House do now adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay. The motion prevails and the House stands adjourned until noon Monday, April 21st, 2025.